Have you ever wondered how a mysterious religious sect could be born out of Islam, yet not consider itself Muslim? How it could speak Arabic, live among Arabs, and still separate itself from them? And most curiously, how it could build an alliance with Israel, right in the heart of a region where most Arab nations see Israel as the enemy. Today we're exploring the story of one of the Middle East's most unusual and influential religious minorities, a group whose faith is secretive, whose scriptures are coded, and whose identity is full of paradoxes. We're talking about the Druze. The Druze are a religious community that identifies as neither Muslim, nor Christian, nor Jewish. Yet despite their small numbers, roughly 1 to 2 million worldwide, they wield a remarkable amount of influence in places like Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and yes, even Israel. So who exactly are the Druze? Where did they come from? What do they believe? And why does Israel support them? Let's go back in time to 11th century Cairo under the rule of the Fatimid Caliphate. This was a Shiite Ismaili dynasty and one of the few Islamic regimes at the time that openly supported philosophy and free thought. But things took a strange turn. In the year 996, an 11-year-old boy named Al-Hakim bi Amr Allah took the throne. As he grew older, he became one of the most controversial figures in Islamic history. He didn't just rule as a caliph, he claimed something far more radical, that he was God, literally, that the divine had manifested in human form, in him. Now, whether he truly believed this or used it to strengthen his political power, we'll never know. But it shocked some and inspired others. One of those inspired was an Iranian scholar from Khorasan named Hamza ibn Ali. Living in Cairo, Hamza became convinced that Al-Hakim was not just a man, but the universal intellect, a divine being in human form. He began writing mystical philosophical texts known as the Epistles of Wisdom, laying the foundation for what would become the Druze faith. Hamza wasn't alone. Another figure, Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Darazi, was also spreading these ideas, but more aggressively. His fiery preaching led to unrest in Cairo, and eventually he disappeared, possibly killed or exiled. But ironically, the religion came to be named after him, Druze. Even though the Druze themselves dislike the name and prefer calling their faith the religion of Tawhid, the religion of divine unity. In 1021, Al-Hakim vanished mysteriously. Some say he was assassinated. Others believe he simply disappeared. But to his followers, this wasn't a death. It was an occultation, a hidden retreat, just like the 12th Imam in Shia Islam. They believed he would one day return to bring justice to the world. Soon after, Hamza too disappeared, and with that, the doors of the religion were closed. No new followers, no public preaching. The Druze faith became a closed, secretive religion passed only through birth, never through conversion. The community is divided into two classes, the Juhal, the uninformed majority, and the Uqal, the initiated elite, who alone can access the secret texts. They believe in reincarnation, holding that the soul continues to live through different bodies until it reaches perfection. Over the centuries, the Druze have developed a unique strategy, survival through adaptation. In Lebanon, they gained political power, especially under leaders like Emir Fakhr al-Din and later the Jumblat family. In Syria, they cooperated with various governments, from the Ayyubids to the Ottomans, sometimes rebelling, sometimes aligning, depending on the times. They even helped resist French colonialism in the 1920s and played a complex role in the Syrian civil war, officially neutral, but leaning toward Assad's secular regime, which offered them more safety than the Islamist rebels who saw them as heretics. But the most fascinating twist comes in Israel. Unlike most Arab minorities who resisted the creation of the Israeli state in 1948, the Druze community inside Israel made a different choice. They embraced cooperation. By the 1950s, military service became mandatory for Druze men. Today, thousands of Druze serve in the Israeli army, security forces, and even the Knesset. High-ranking officers like Ghassan Alian, a Druze, have led elite military units. Why this alliance? First, it's about survival. As a small religious group often mistrusted by Muslims, the Druze saw integration with Israel as a way to protect themselves. Second, Israel saw in them a valuable partner and began providing economic support, job opportunities, and political recognition. They became a kind of model minority, the Arab group that proved coexistence with a Jewish state could work. Third, it served Israel's regional strategy. Through its relationship with Druze communities in Lebanon and Syria, Israel has sometimes gathered intelligence, extended humanitarian aid, and fostered influence in Druze-populated areas. And finally, it creates division. By supporting a non-Muslim Arab sect, Israel subtly undermines pan-Arab and Islamic unity, something that helps break up opposition alliances. But let's be clear. Not all Druze support Israeli policies. Many oppose the Jewish nation-state law, which downgraded the status of non-Jewish citizens. Some Druze youth have refused military service, saying they won't fight against Palestinians. The truth is, the Druze situation is complex. Their population is shrinking due to low birth rates and their closed religion. They live scattered across 4 different nations, each with its own politics. And yet, they've managed to stay united. When recent unrest broke out in southern Syria's Suwaida province, Druze from Lebanon and Israel crossed borders to help their kin, proving that beneath politics, a deep sense of shared identity still binds them. In the end, the Druze are far more than just a small sect. They are strategic survivors. In the stormy waters of Middle Eastern politics, they've learned how to float without drowning, shifting alliances, preserving secrets, and maintaining unity. And perhaps that's why Israel continues to support them, not just because of what they believe, but because of what they represent: loyalty, usefulness, and above all, endurance. While the Druze have managed to build a unique alliance with Israel, their situation is deeply intertwined with the region's broader tensions, especially between Israel and Syria. In recent years, Israel has launched multiple airstrikes on Syrian territory, targeting Iranian-backed militias, Hezbollah weapons convoys, and military infrastructure. These attacks are part of Israel's ongoing effort to prevent Iran from establishing a permanent military presence near its northern border. For the Druze living in the Golan Heights or near conflict zones, this creates a delicate balancing act, caught between historical ties, modern loyalties, and the shifting front lines of Middle Eastern geopolitics. The Druze have always played the game in a way that ensures their survival. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you shared it with others. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next video.